Most companies don't have a good mission statement. Did you know that? Most of them are just a bunch of gobbledygook that nobody can understand, nobody really knows what it means, nobody has memorized or anything like that. Today we're going to talk about why that's important. And it's important because, one, it provides you with a reminder of where you're going, what your mission, what your vision is, and why you're doing what you're doing. That's probably the most important thing we could talk about, is really helping us understand why we're going forward. So my name is Jacob Curtis. I'm a CPA. I'm the founder of Curtis Accounting Solutions, and business consultant that helps quilt shops grow their businesses into the quilt shops they actually want, so they can have that financial freedom and peace that they're desiring. And one of those first steps is figuring out your why. Why is it that you have a quilt shop? Why you chose that over something else? What you're trying to achieve, and things like that. So to create a solid foundation, to make sure you have a good foundation for your business, for your quilt shop, you really need to understand what it is that you want to get out of your quilt shop, and why, and basically why you start it all up. And so there's 4 aspects to growing a quilt shop. The first one is to have a solid foundation. The second one is to create predictable cash inflow, and then create stability and create efficiency. And we're going to dive deeper into that very first point of creating a solid foundation. The very first part of creating a solid foundation is actually a lot harder than it sounds. Don't skip over this. This is really, really important. Okay, it is figuring out your vision, your immutable laws, and your mission statement. And those all things really all sound like they're not really needed, but they're needed more than you actually understand or know. They really are needed so that you can actually grow your quilt shop. Because when you get stuck trying to figure out what it is you want to do or where you want to go, these three documents, these 3 points will actually get you past that and help you understand what actions you need to take to move your business forward when you get stuck, when you find out that's not where you're going. So the very first thing is we got to figure out what a vision is. Now, I like to call it a vision story. This also comes out of the Pumpkin Plan by Mike Michalowicz, of which I am a certified pumpkin plan strategist. And when we talk about vision story, we want to make this written down. It's a page. Now, the vision story doesn't include just what you want to do for your business. It also includes what your life looks like, right? When you're thinking about where you want to go, what you want to be with your quilt shop, think about what it is you're achieving, what it is you're doing, how much is your business providing you with, is it providing you with ability to travel? Is it providing you with money? Is it your retirement plan? What is it that is so compelling about your quilt shop? What's happening? And basically you're gonna write just hand write a page or type up a page in present tense form, as if you're living in your future, in your vision today. And you're going to ask yourself a bunch of questions. What does my day-to-day look like? What am I doing? How is it for, how are my employees living? That's the other thing you got to remember, is you got to include in your vision what your employees' lifestyles are, what your lifestyle is. Because all of these things are super, super important, but you've got to remember that this is what you're working towards. Because the vision is going to give you purpose and motivation, so that when things get tough, which they probably are, you're gonna remember what it is you're working for. This is really your why, okay? Most people want to be remembered for something, but most people don't want to be remembered for hitting their sales goal every month or for making a bunch of money or anything like that. They want to be known for being generous and kind and helpful and friendly and all those kinds of things. And so that's really what we're working towards. But now we want to go get into that a little deeper. A vision is it's not the goal itself. That's not where we're going now. It is a kind of a goal, but it's a generic, long-term, 5, 10, 15, 20-year goal that you're working towards. So once you have your vision, write it down. Answer the questions about how your life is different, how it's living, and write it in present tense as if it's happening today. The reason we do that is because it changes our focus of of how we're thinking about it. Instead of thinking about it as something that might happen or could happen, when we start saying, I am living this way, or I can achieve this, or I did do this, or this is the way things are, once you change that kind of thing, it shifts the whole perspective, the whole mindset. And as you review that month over month, you're going to work towards it more and more and more. Now, this isn't supposed to be done in just like a 10-minute exercise, right? Writing out your vision is probably going to take you at least a couple of hours if you do it right. If you really sit down and think about what it is that you are doing, that this is going to take you a couple hours. So write that down in present tense scripts kind of form. It's kind of like movie scripts, if you can think about it like that, I guess. I think, unless I don't know what movie scripts are. But yeah, write it in present tense form. I am living this way. Even though you're not yet, you want to write it that way because it changes your mindset. So the second thing we want to talk about is immutable laws. Now, immutable laws take on lots of different forms and values and things like that. But they're basically the laws that you live your life by. Often these are called like core values or the ethics of the company or the principles of the company. And they are. That's exactly what it is. Integrity is probably one of the most common immutable laws there are. Now immutable laws are made up of, like I said, core values, ethics. They're just the laws that you live your life by, and we want to move, and you need to have those laws in your life, and you probably don't even know what they are, but you have them. And so we want to take those laws and move them into the business and write them out as a business. Most companies these days are calling them core values, but I think core values is probably not good enough. It doesn't include some other aspects you want to. If you want to get an example of immutable laws, you can go to my website, curtisaccountingsolutions.com, and then click on the About Us link down at the bottom of the page. And on there, I list our core values, or our immutable laws, and also our mission statement. So the core values are kind of like the guide rails as you go along. They're what you're going to share with your employees. My wife recently got a new job, and in her employee handbook, the very first page, there was a cover page that had the company name and it said handbook or whatever, and it had the date, when was last updated. But the very next page, you flip it over on that cover page, was the mission statement from the company. Boom, right there. So there's no question about what their mission statement is. You flip it over on the second page, guess what it was? Immutable laws, or what they called, I think they called them core values or something like that, but it was their immutable laws. Already, the first 2 pages tells the employee what they're working for and how they're supposed to go about doing it. It gives them the guardrails, the fence that they can work within to do, which is really amazing. Now let's move into that third piece, which is the mission statement. The mission statement is really an important key part of the business because it tells why you're working at the company or why the company exists, right? That is the why. There's a famous, Simon Sinek, he wrote a book called Start With Why, and he gave a TED Talk on it back in, I think it was 2009. I can't remember. It's on YouTube. You just Google it, Simon Sinek, Start With Why. You'll find the YouTube clip. I'm sure you will. It's one of the most watched YouTube clips of all time. Anyway, it's really, really good. And because that's starting with why, people buy why, not what. And he gives some really good examples in there. And this is why we need to start with that as well, is we need to define these 3 areas, because those 3 areas are really why we're working for and the guidelines we're working towards. And so once we are able to actually get those all in there, we're good to go. Now, a really easy mission statement should be short, concise, easily memorized, and memorable, so you can and help you to inspire others. So again, if you want an example, go to curtisaccountingsolutions.com, my website, and then click under the About page to see what is there, to see what my mission statement is. You can also Google others to see if they're good or bad. I have a quick template that I always say. The template I use to create a mission statement is it's 1 sentence long. It basically says, we insert what you do because ABC by with the deadline. Now you can rearrange that a little bit and say, we do this each year. So like mine, for example, is we help 100 quilt shops. We support and direct 100 quilt shops each year, which is really, really easy. Like the concept now, I may not have it word for word just now, but that's basically the concept, is we're here to support and give help and direction to quilt shops. So that is probably one of the most important things that we can do. Once we figure out those 3 pieces to the puzzle, that is our solid foundation. That's going to give us the why and the motivation when things get tough and when things get hard. And so I really want you to think about your why, write them out. Having that, the reason we write them out, and this is really, really important. Once we write them out and we review them monthly, I review mine every single month just to make sure that I'm headed in the right direction. You know, I had the vision for the company and I'm headed in the right direction. Now, does it change? To be honest, the vision doesn't change all that much very often, and the immutable laws and the mission statement don't change either. Now, I don't think I've changed significant parts of any of those at all. In fact, I've added a few immutable laws as I've gone through and done and gotten more clients and done more business. We've added a few more just to make sure that we are working with the right people that we want to work with. So once you get all of them all done, you're going to share the crap out of all of those things so that you can find the people. People can know who you are and find you, and you can work with people you want to work for. So that's all we got. I'll talk to you later. Bye.